This is just a couple of quick stories. Starting with miracles. Are they real? Do they exist? I've had some very strange experiences at times. I'm going to share a couple of them with you. Whether they would be classed as miracles or not, I have absolutely no idea. But there are things beyond what I can explain. Now, I'm not going to go into all the paranormal stuff and this, doing that, and the other, because there's loads of that on a constant basis. But these are head scratches that I've had in my life that I've like, oh, that's just a bit beyond what I've normally experienced. So I'm going to share all three of them with you. The first one is I'll be hopefully putting a clip of a snow circle on, which is our cover picture, and I'll be putting it onto this shortly. Now, the snow circle's incredibly interesting. I've never seen a snow circle before. I probably never will again. But the story behind it's even more interesting. I used to do what's called some moon dances. There was an Indian called Chief Joseph, Beautiful Painted Arrow, who decided to take the message to the Western world of his people's traditions and integrate the male and female while doing this. And there was numerous dances that was done to sort of support this throughout the world, looking for peace. So the sun moon dance, the drum dance, and the long dance, all from Native American traditions, and westernized in some way by Chief Joseph to do different things with them. Anyway, the story behind the snow circle is that where the picture is what's called an arbour, where people used to do the sun moon dance. And the sun moon dance is fascinating. People would walk up and down to the pole while people were drumming. They wouldn't talk to anyone for 4 days. They wouldn't eat or drink for 4 days. And they'd just pray to God, and they'd just walk up and down towards a tree that represents God in the middle. And then eventually they'll throw themselves to the tree if they so felt, which was giving themselves to God. There is a team of staff called dog soldiers and everything else that look after him, and there's all different kinds of people in there. But people do it, and it's quite amazing, and the energy they have after it is just phenomenal, really. I wasn't doing that. I was doing what's called the long dance, which is a long dance. So we built a piece up right next to there, which was quite big, round building. And we went round in circles, 3 hours walking one way and then 3 hours walking the other way to drum beat, which the drummers exceptionally played for 6 hours non-stop while we walked 3 hours one way, 3 hours the other in a circle. And this is contemplation, it's meditation, it's everything else. Now, I remember this night, and I'll never forget this night because it was snowing, as you can see. But the ritual before the actual long dance is that you actually go outside and you do a sweat lodge. So we had the sweat lodge set up. So we went from freezing cold in the snow into a red hot sweat lodge and come back out semi-naked to get ready in the snow to get back to do the dance. Phenomenal experience. So we'd done the dance. It was quite grueling, I've got to be honest. It wasn't simple. And I made the really great idea of taking my shoes off and doing it natural. So my calves was killing me for about 3 days, but that's just life, isn't it? So next day we finished. We came out in the morning, and the snow circle was there. So I'm like, we've been looking at connecting. It was a place where people was aiming to connect with the divine or the energy, and we had a miraculous snow circle there. And I'm like, that is just amazing. That is seriously amazing. That is just so good. So that was the first. Well, it might not have been chronologically the first, but that was the first one I'm telling you about. The second one was a massive synchronicity. I was, Lisa and myself, we'd been working for a company where we was going to all the local pubs or Northwest pubs and doing tarot card readings. And for whatever reason, we'd had a disagreement with the person who run it, and we'd been let go of just before Christmas. We had younger children, teenagers at the time, and we was like, oh, how are we going to cope? So we'd done the maths, and I said, we need about 500 quid for Christmas because, I don't know, self-employed, it's very hit and miss. Lisa said, have you got any plans? And I went, well, yeah, I'm just going to ask God. And she went, have you got a plan B? Which probably was a practical thing to say. Anyway, the next day I got an ex-girlfriend who'd not been in touch with me for years, texted me and said, he's still your number? I went, yeah. Text about, yeah. And she said, I just feel like giving you some money. So I was like, now you don't need to, we're fine. Going, please do, please do. And a couple of days later, we got a Christmas card with the cheque for £500 in it, saying God told me to send it. Now, that's amazing. Now, the person I know was, I think she was born again Christian, and that was one of the reasons we hadn't spoke for a while. We've gotten really well. But her beliefs and mine was different, and she didn't really have, we would have been a bone of contention. So, yeah, that was quite miraculous, I thought. The right amount of money, and God told me to send it in the envelope, in the letter, the card. I thought that was quite bizarre. But the third one is even more sort of weird and wonderful in a way. Because it defies the law of physics. I was living with the mother of a number of my children. And basically, we was up and down at the time, weren't sure where we was going and what was happening with stuff. And my keys to the house went missing. Now, we'd had children playing in the house, and I had £6 in coins on my key rings, and thought, well, maybe someone sort of invested in taking them and decided that they wanted to go and do whatever they wanted to do with them. Not a problem. Well, it was. I didn't have a key to the house, but you know what I'm saying. It's not the end of the world. 3 days later, I'm in bed and I'm getting a dream that Spirit are passing me a key to the house. And I thought, okay. And I moved my hand in the bed while still semi-asleep and found a key. Now, no key ring and no money. And I was quite perplexed by this, so I put it at the side of the bed and thought, well, if it's there in the morning, and not just part of a dream, then that'll be fine. Got up, it was there, went down to the front door, opened the front door with the key, which was great, could it fit? And I thought, well, what's happened to my key rings? A couple of days later, and we was deciding to change the bedroom round, and basically my key rings was underneath with the key, so we had now had 3 keys to a 2-key house. So I thought, right, okay, I'm probably meant to stay, so I did, and we had a number of children, and that was the rest is history. But when we actually separated later, some of my friends said, well, maybe it was a key to get out. Now, this is problem with signs. We don't always know which ones they're meant to be. But I think it was probably meant, telling him I was in the right place at the right time. But everything's into interpretation, isn't it? So thanks for listening. If you like the video, give it a quick like, subscribe to the channel, and watch much more like this in the future. Really, really appreciate all your time and effort. Thanks very much for listening. Bye now.